All right, everybody, and we are back. Before we jump into the next game, I do have a quick donation from Hepawana for that. Thank you so much for that $30 donation saying, thanks for letting me show off Deliver Us the Moon. I'm sure I died 3 times when no one was looking, so here's a donation for that. Thanks for putting on this great event. Thank you so much for that awesome donation. Remember, !D to get those donations in. Now, without any further ado, I hope you are all excited as I am for the next game. It's Gunstar Superheroes by ThePhantomire. So, without any further ado, Phantomire, good luck and have fun.
Thank you so much. And you know what? We'll just jump right into the run because we're speeding. We're ready for speed running. So I'm gonna start in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so for those who are familiar with the Gunstar heroes on Genesis, there's actually a lot that you're gonna see that crosses over, but at the same time, there's a lot of the sort of chaos and everything like that that's very much unique to the Game Boy Advance, and you're going to see some substantial differences as well. Even though we see the same bosses, how we fight them and everything is very, very different from the other games. So if you haven't checked it out before, I definitely recommend checking it out. So you're going to see me doing a heck of a lot of sliding and basically always using this fire weapon. There's only one instance where I don't, so we're going to keep that charged, and you'll notice that little bar at the top. I want that bar basically maxed as often as possible, just because there's like a super attack with that. And you'll get to see that very shortly, so long as I don't mess up this kill. Thank you so much for the good lucks, and welcome on in, Raiders. Hope you're all doing well. And then we're also going to see a lot of melee attacks in this game. So there's also the uppercut, so you're going to be seeing the use of that as well. Oh no, I messed up this kill. That's okay. Not too much of a problem with the recovery there. So one of the interesting things about this game is sort of like the first Gunstar Heroes. You can pick stages in any order. This one you can do it, it just happens to be after the intro. But we're not going to be swapping the order in any particular way. In the original game there was advantage to picking certain stages. In this one, just because the menu's quicker, we pick the stage that we go on to next. It's not like the other game. Thank you so much for the good luck. This is one of those instances that you'll see where we have sort of an auto scroller and it looks like it's like, oh, okay, auto scroll or whatever, do your thing. But there's actually a few critical things that we have to worry about. And that's why you'll see me in sort of fixed positions and being mindful of taking out enemies as quickly as I can. Like say those helicopters can pass through a couple of times, and they do take quite a bit of time. You will advance the auto scroller if you take them out right away. They can pass a couple of times, and you can completely miss them depending on the time of your shots, and it's a pretty hefty time sink. So we'll hopefully avoid that. The first couple aren't too bad. It's the last two, because they come in a pair. That can be kind of rough, especially if you get bonked by the missiles or anything, which you don't really have any control over. Okay, so yeah, we're getting to see that. I only said that because I wanted to warn you of the bad thing and then do it deliberately. Very purposeful mistake. Every mistake I make in this run is completely intentional, just to show off a lot more of the run and give time for donations to get in. Anybody who tells you otherwise, they're lying. Plain and simple. Okay. So shortly we're going to be seeing a bit of a pain in the butt. One of the 2 points in this run that is like, kind of shows how awful this game can be in terms of just messing with you. Yeah, totally, RNG manips. As soon as I get perfect patterns, it's RNG. This next section is called the Flicky section, and I'm going to take it incredibly slow because it is just the worst. You have to collect all these birds, and if you get hit, they all go back to their previous position. and it is very easy to get hit, so we're gonna do everything we can to not. Okay, so again, I was just showing you what could happen. And now that I've done that, it's the only mistake I'm gonna make. Prior to this, this was supposed to be a race with moon cues, and the previous race that we had in a marathon and also in practice, the flicky section is actually what determined the difference between us. That's how awful and critical it can wind up being. So the fact that that happened is kind of unsurprising. The movement in there is just crazy tight, and even when you're playing it safe like that, it can still just be awful. So it is what it is, but we got through it second swipe. We'll take that. I mean, we don't really have a choice, so. And in this game, one of the things that I find interesting is that, much like in Gunstar Heroes on the Genesis, you have to do refights with all of these enemies. So, but yeah, they're gonna completely change forms, which I really like. Like, say if you're familiar with Mega Man runs, for example, you do refights, it's the same thing, you just happen to have their weakness. In this game, they're entirely different fights, so even though we see them again, there's still a lot of variety. So that's Pink's stage, and again you see the power of the exploding weapon as well as the power of the kicks. This little auto-scroller here, there's not too much time to save. One of the things to do is to not bonk into buildings, and again I was just showing an example of what not to do if you're ever running this game. The other thing is that I found out that there's like a very, very slight difference if you don't shoot it all throughout the section, which you don't really need to, just because it causes a little bit of lag, which will slow you down. Yeah, I'm always manipping RNG, 100%. That's what all the mistakes are for, manips. Okay, that was actually a pretty good kill. The big thing that you can do to lose time there is getting bonked by the stray objects there. So thankfully we didn't have any worries there. The next thing I have to worry about is this climb. The first two ships are kind of important just to get things set up, but it's the last one is the most critical. So let's hope that we get it. It's tight to be able to do. Okay, nice, got the first one. Now let's see if we can get the third one. Again, the most critical one, and there we go. Because what this allows me to do is jump up and skip the way the auto-scroller is supposed to go. Okay, that was a very, very nice kill. Sometimes those can go down a little bit earlier, and then you have to wait for them to come back up, and how long that takes is random, so it's annoying. Don't make strides or math. Math is hard, especially when you're busy. Okay, so I'm gonna be setting up a quick kill here. So what I have to do is go over a bit, slide, jump up here, and then while he's still talking, shoot, and of course I got all but one hit off him. But still, that's way faster than having to actually fight him. So we will take it. Not too shabby at all. I'm fairly certain that's actually gold on my end. Boom. Okay. Actually a pretty hefty gold. So let's go. Now we're on the beloved auto-scroller. Speedrunner's favorite. This one, there is a... generally speaking, not much you can do in terms of the time throughout the level to save any time. You can take out a couple of these turrets a little bit sooner in the later parts to speed things up, but it's pretty minimal. The only difference will be on the green fight, because green has random patterns and can be very annoying. So we'll hope for the best patterns. Remember all those mistakes earlier? Those were RNG manips, and those will definitely allow me to get the best patterns. I've always been impressed by just how like detailed and great this game sounds for a Game Boy Advance game, because I typically don't think of the Game Boy Advance as a game console that sounds good, so I'm quite happy about it. Okay, one more turret, and then we're gonna have some exploding. And then M. Bison is gonna be chilling back there. See him again quickly. Very, very briefly, though. Let's see what patterns we get here. If you can't tell by the color of him and the fact that he says he's green, this is green. Perfect start. Thank you. Not a bad follow-up. I'll take it. I was a little too close, but still good. There we go. Okay, not too bad. The real... So the reason for the generous estimate and why this game terrifies most runners is this stage. This is the stage. When Moon and I were racing this, who was I supposed to be racing during this? This has always been the major determinant of what's going on, and you'll see why once we get to the board game. For those familiar with the original game, it was completely random, and that's why runners would start with the stage, because you would have to rely on dice rolls to give you hopefully what you want. This one you get control over it, but that comes with an asterisk because it's brutal to try and control it. Okay, see? I already messed up right off the bat. So, this is very much a thing, but we're going to come up with a backup here. If I had to make a mistake, this is actually kind of the mistake that I want because it's a safe one. It's just a little bit slower. If I went the ideal way, I'd have to fight Mini, which is just an absolutely brutal section if you miss the quick kill setup because of how relentless that enemy is, and he can be off the screen for so long and just tease you and damage you a ton, so not fighting him honestly isn't the worst thing. So now we're gonna go for a fire 3. Normally you would go for a 3-2-1. So now we're gonna climb into the second section. And there's two ways. The ideal way in the second section is to do a 5-1. We're actually going to do a 3-3 instead, hopefully. Just because a 3-3 is a little bit more consistent, even though the 5-1 is faster. It depends on randomness, and it's also just harder to time the dice rolls. Okay, so let's go 3-3. Okay. That's fine, because now I can just buffer a 1. Little slow, but we're okay. Sorry you have to look at this enemy. It's pretty gross. And it's hard to set up the ideal kill on it, so we're going to take it easy. Just because we need a lot of health for the black fight, doing all of the damage boost that we do. Given how awful Dice Fortress can be, this is actually not a bad thing, because like I said, now I can just buffer the 1. It's always going to start on 1. And then now we're on to black. So this is one of the 2 instances that you're going to see me using the laser, and it's just because it's pretty tight to do the damage with the fire. It hits the legs a lot there. And you can see by all of the D-boosting why it is that I wanted more health, because otherwise this boss is a total nightmare and absolutely terrifying at low health. The missiles will be what you would pick as a backup in terms of taking damage. Ooh, okay, so that that quick kill can be awful, and of course I was 1 health off. Much like in the original game, he dekes you out in terms of being able to finish him. But we know better. We know better than to trust him. So through this part, there's not much I have to do in terms of these enemies, but I do want to charge up my weapons so that I can hopefully get the quick kill on the boss down below. Unfortunately, we have a long sliding section that I'm not entirely too sure why they designed the way that they did, but they did. You're supposed to time your slides just so that you get right under those. And again, the first one was just an RNG manip so that I could show you what could go wrong. That's all. I miscounted. Oh, that's not what I wanted at all. Okay, now I gotta let him get on screen, because unfortunately, even though he can get pushed off screen, you can't damage him off screen. So I kinda was hoping that he would move over a little sooner. That was awful. I've never seen that happen before, but we're in a marathon, so of course I gotta say that. It's gotta happen once, right? Every marathon run does that. Thank you so much, Tempest. Actually, the previous time I ran this, Tempest did comments with me on it, so it was nice to see him here. Yeah, if you haven't played this game before, even if it is that you don't intend on running it, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's an incredible little run and gun game with a lot of diversity, which is what you kind of expect for people who know Treasure as a developer. Like, Treasure has just always been a force to be reckoned with in terms of creating unique experiences that are just incredible and a lot of the time really over the top. I swear every single speedrun has to have an auto scroller somewhere in it. It always feels like. And this one has no shortage of it, but I don't know. I'm not sure how other people in chat feel, but I'm actually not a huge amount of them, but I'm actually pro auto scroller in speedruns. I find them to be a fun break and contrast in the run. Unpopular opinion, I'm sure, but I actually like auto scrollers in speedruns. There's a slight speed up that I can do up ahead, but I'm pretty sure it's pixel perfect. If it's not pixel perfect, it feels pixel perfect. And it's pretty hard because I'm sure that you've seen or noticed, I know that you've seen it, you're watching the run, but notice that I can kind of pivot here. The pivot is like really difficult to control in terms of like tiny refinements, and there's a point with the boss coming up ahead where I can do the tiniest little pivot and I'll be able to get into a spot where I can continue to damage the boss but not take any damage. But the spot for that is pretty tight. Oops. As you can tell, I definitely didn't get it, but that's okay. Now we're going to be doing some weapon charging and listening to, I don't know if it's probably one of my favorite tracks. I know Moon, who I normally race this with, he adores this track, and I think it's his favorite in the game. He really helps. Him and Servets are incredible runners of this game who are super passionate about that. There are others in the community as well. I'm not sure how active they are. But if you're looking at running the game, there's the Discord there, and they've both been incredibly supportive of people running the game. Luke and I have talked shop a lot, where I come up with some ridiculous strat and then tell him to do it, because he's a better runner than I am. And so this is quite a lengthy descent, and the time is the time, and there's nothing you can do to speed it up. You also can't slow it down either, which is kind of nice because there are leg reduction strats in this game. So I just use this as an opportunity, just based on the way that I wrote it, to charge my weapon. Yeah, both of them are as charged as they need to be. And oh wait, I lied. I used the laser 3 times. I'm going to be using it once on the refights, and then once on the final fight. I'm hoping too I can show off a strat on the black refight that I just recently discovered. It's super dangerous, so I'll only do it for a little bit because health management's critical in that stage, but we just found out recently that kicking's actually faster than shooting black. So if I can get away with it, I will, but I won't push it. That part is oddly satisfying to do. Let's see if we can get this quick kill. It's really difficult to set up. I missed it. That's okay. She's going to be invulnerable for a little while. And not too bad. I am going to collect those health though. So this is the one instance that you actually use the strafe. And it's because there's a certain distance that you can be away from orange there, where he will still chase after you but not damage you. So if you can get to that spot, it's perfect. I think this part is random. I can't remember. I know the next fight is like super random and just awful. So I'm getting some of the kicks in, thankfully, which is really good. Because, like I said, they're quicker than shooting, but there's a certain point where it's not worth it anymore, depending on how much health I have. But right now, it's actually looking okay. Because I haven't been getting hit, thankfully, that much. I should have not said that. Actually, no, we had pretty decent health here. Okay, and now I might even PB right now, but it really depends on what pattern I get here. That's actually a perfect start. We'll stun lock him for a little bit, and then hope that we get a good pattern. We are not. Okay, jump up, please. Okay, that's not terrible, not great. And then now we're on to the last boss after this. So this is the instance of my lovely laser. We're gonna hope for a good pattern here. And so far we're not doing too shabby. And that's time.
GG.
According to my splits, that's a PB too. There's something about game over
Nice.
cancer, I swear. So that's Gunstar Superheroes, incredible run and gun game. Definitely check it out if you haven't. Lots of action, lots of variety in it, and incredible music, which are all things that I definitely look for in speedruns, and the community has been absolutely wonderful, so definitely check it out if you haven't already. And
Awesome. Now, if somebody wants to check out the speedrun, is there a Discord they can go to?
yeah, if you go to the speedrun.com, the Gunstar Heroes, either one of the games links to like a treasure box Discord, which actually has a few of the games covered in there. So if you're a treasure fan and want to speedrun some of their games, a lot of skills transfer over, so definitely check them out there. All wonderful people, wonderful community, dedicated to some really incredible games.
Right. Now, if anybody wants to find you, where can they do that?
Over here on Twitch, ThePhantomire, and if for whatever reason you're slow on that follow button, I'm going to be running very shortly some Mega Man 7 with Guy Next Door right next after this. Or just click the link in chat.
Speaking of Mega Man 7, that is correct. We have a race coming up between Guy Next Door and ThePhantomire. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, get that set up. But while we do that, make sure you get a quick stretch break in, get some hydration going, and we'll be right back.